I feel like we're making a lot of Star Wars content recently, Lucas.
Yeah, well, we definitely are. I mean, we have to capitalise on it now.
Oh yeah, 'cause Star Wars is dead now. Good point. Strike while the iron is... What? So welcome to Wikipedia Weekend, and today we'll be talking about an idea Lucas had, and would you like to explain it to the audience at home?
Yeah, so I was just thinking when I was looking for these wiki pages to look at, there's a lot of changes made to Star Wars, and then I didn't even look at what they really were, but I just scrolled past a few, just skimmed past significant changes.
Okay, so what we're reading today is it's changes in Star Wars releases on Wikipedia. And Lucas, there is a header image to this Wikipedia page.
Okay.
And I will give you a clue. It highlights perhaps the most controversial change made in a Star Wars re-release.
Is it Who Shot First?
No, it's not. It is the Force Ghost, where Anakin just comes in.
Oh no!
Which is the change that I think both myself and you agree with. Because we consider Anakin and Darth Vader to be separate characters.
Yes, I definitely do. I'm not sure how much I agree with it, but I agree with it to some extent, I guess.
I also like the idea that Hayden Christensen just got paid to come back in for one more day and film that.
And just stand there.
Unless they use like B-roll.
Potentially,
Maybe,
yeah.
but I hope they got him in for a new day. So I love when you find stuff like that out, which I'm presuming we'll talk about it, but there's an amazing change they did, where they brought an actress back for... Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself.
You are, Karl.
It's probably in this list. So let's go on with the introduction so we're all on the same page. Changes in Star Wars re-releases vary from minor differences in colour timing, audio mixing, and take choices to major insertions of new visual effects, additions of characters and dialogue, scene expansions, and replacements of original cast members with newer ones. Right, they're the ones that blow my mind the most. When you look at the early test footage where Jabba the Hutt was just a guy.
He was, yeah. He was just some weird guy.
Fun fact, Jabba the Hutt was just originally a dude. And what they did is they had that old footage lying around somewhere. And that's where the awful shot of CGI Jabba the Hutt comes from.
And it's also where, like, the weird Han Solo of, like, stepping over him, but he didn't actually step over anything.
No.
So he had to, like, awkwardly CGI his body up and around.
They just had B-roll of Harrison Ford talking to the guy who was supposed to play Jabba the Hutt before they changed it to a puppet. It's really odd. Though changes were made to the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy saw the most alteration. No fucking shit. Dissatisfied with the original theatrical cuts of the original Star Wars films, The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, creator George Lucas altered the film in an attempt to achieve the ideal versions that he could not initially due to limitations of time, budget, and technology. Also, I'm guessing he's just obsessed.
He really must be.
And then he sold it for $1 billion.
Was it not 4 billion?
4 billion, oh, so he sold it for $4 billion. Like, Disney have probably made their money back on Star Wars, but Lucas made out like a fucking bandit with that
Holy
deal.
shit, he did. But
4 billion.
However, I will say, I've been to Disneyland a couple of times since they've bought Star Wars. Trust me, they're making their fucking money.
Anyway, so let's go on. So the first significant changes were made in 1997 with the release of the special edition remaster in commemoration of the franchise's 20th anniversary. These changes were intended to modernise the film and create consistency with the forthcoming prequel trilogy. See, like, that's true, but at the same time, did you know that George Lucas was making changes while Star Wars was still in theatres?
I know you've, like, mentioned it in the past, but that is... What? Like, that's insane. That's Cat's level of significance.
Oh yeah, Cat's getting like a post-launch patch.
Yeah.
Films are video games now, let's go. Some of them are admittedly very minor. It's like, oh, the audio was a bit off in this one, so it's better versions of it.
Oh, okay.
But some of them are, oh no, it's just entirely new scenes and dialogue. So many changes met criticism and outrage from fans and critics, and many believe that Lucas degraded the original film with additions. Most controversial is the decision to have Greedo shoot before Han Solo does, which sparked wide usage of the phrase "Han shot first." Other controversial changes including the deleted Jabba the Hutt scene with CGI, which I mentioned earlier, replacing the song sung by the puppets, Psy Snootles, with a new CGI Snootles, having Darth Vader yell, "No!"
Oh, no, not that one.
It only says no with one O, but he pronounced it with like 95 O's, as he kills the Emperor, and replacing Sebastian Shaw as a Force spirit with that of Hayden Christensen. Oh, so you said just go straight to the significant changes.
I think so, yeah.
Because
there's a lot of minor changes.
Well, I think that the background here is kind of interesting because in 1989, the original release of Star Wars was selected for preservation by the National Film Registry of the United States Library of Congress. Because this is basically, I think it's like films that are like aesthetically or culturally significant. Mm-hmm. And the library, as of 2014, does not have a working copy because George Lucas never gave them one.
So they wanted to preserve his film, but he's
Wars,
so unfinished with it that he can't preserve it.
because they refused to accept the special editions. They want the original version that was in theatres. So Star Wars was granted possibly the highest accolade a film can receive, basically preservation so it will last forever. And he's like, nah, because I want you to have the special editions. Like, no, we want the original.
I wanted to put that CG Jabba the Hutt in. Fuck me.
Yeah. Director George Lucas refused to submit the original, stating that he no longer authorised the release of the theatrical version. Think about that for a moment. The highest honour a film can receive, and George Lucas is like, nah.
They want to preserve it forever.
Forever. Right, we'll move on to significant changes in a moment, but this is the one that blows my mind the most. So, Star Wars release history. In 1977, in May, Star Wars was theatrically released. In June, a mono mixed print of the film was released with significant change in audio lines and special effects. So, 2 months later, there was a new version of the film in cinemas.
With better special effects.
Think about that for a moment. Think about how ridiculous that is. 2 months. So, people who saw the Star Wars on opening night saw a different version to people who watched it 2 months later.
Can you imagine if that happened with like Endgame?
Well, didn't they do that? Didn't they release a version?
No, they released a bit of extra footage, but not different special effects.
They released a version with extra footage to like fuck off James Cameron.
But how many times did Avatar re-release? Come on.
Oh man, limping over that finish line. You go, Endgame. A win's a win. So in 1980, Empire Strikes Back was released theatrically. A 17mm print of the film differed from the more widely distributed 35mm print in takes of dialogue, visual, sound effects, shot choices, and transition between shots. None of these changes appeared in later releases.
What?
Again, so that means there are people out there who watched Empire Strikes Back in cinemas and saw a version of the film nobody else will ever get to see.
That's so weird.
That to me, it's mind-boggling to think about. Like Star Wars, there's a version of it out there people saw that doesn't exist. Like it doesn't. Like it's just not out there, and you can't find it. It's crazy. So that goes on for a very, very long time. I think we all get the idea here that George Lucas has been tinkering with this shit since it was first released.
Just endlessly.
Significant changes. The first film, released in 1977 under the title Star Wars, the subtitle Episode 4 A New Hope was retroactively added. So did you know that?
Yeah, because obviously originally it was just like the film.
Think about that though. The title to the film was changed. Also, how baller of a move is it to change the title to Episode 4? That's fucking like, no one ever talks about how baller that is.
How baller would it have been if he released Episode 4 without anyone knowing about Star Wars?
Well, that's the thing, I kind of wish that they did that first, but like, it's not often talked about like how just like ballsy a move it was for George Lucas to release films. Like, it's the 4th one. Wait, what? You're releasing the 4th film first? Don't question me. And then he sold it for $4 billion like a couple of years later, man, what a ledge. So the Greedo scene, which is, I think, possibly one of the most baffling changes. And we've talked about this at length before, haven't we, where the original scene works better. It's just better
It's straight up better, yeah.
One, it's a more obvious like homage to the kind of media that inspired Star Wars.
Well, yeah, it was kind of meant to be like a space western, yeah.
With like, elements of Japanese samurai films in there as well. But like, it works so much better when just Han just shoots the guy, no fucking problem, without any remorse or mercy.
Yeah.
Because that's what Han will do. Because he's a fucking scumbag. He's supposed to be that guy. He's supposed to be that moment in the Western where the guys are having a game of cards and gets accused of cheating. He just shoots the person.
Yeah, he's like, sure.
Because it establishes the character straight away. But anyway,
and the fact I'm pretty sure Greedo's like threatening him.
But also, he's a big dumb alien. Did you know as well, Greedo's played by a woman?
No, I didn't know that.
So in the behind-the-scenes shots of Greedo doesn't even have boots because you never see his feet. So you just see him wearing high heels. Just a fun fact for people out there. So presumably behind me now is a picture of Greedo wearing high heels. And I can just make that a little bit more adorable because Peter Cushing? So we've got, what character does he play now? The one they brought back with CGI. Grand Moff Tarkin.
Ah, right.
The boots for his costume were also very uncomfortable. So Peter Cushing said, can I wear my slippers instead? And George was like, fine, fuck it, yeah. So in all those shots, he's just wearing like, big fuzzy slippers and it's really funny. So he destroyed Alderaan while wearing fluffy pink slippers.
I mean, Obi-Wan just got to wear his bathrobe the entire film.
Did he? Oh, I got that. Lucas. So in Star Wars, Han Solo is cornered in the Mos Eisley canteen by the bounty hunter Greedo. He's not a very good one, is he? Like, Greedo is such a shit-tier bounty hunter, where he announces that he's going to shoot somebody. A guy he knows is like the fastest gun in the West. And the confrontation ends with Han shooting under the table and killing Greedo. The circumstances of the shot vary between versions of the film.
Of course they do.
No fucking shit. So in the original 1977 theatrical release of the film, which remember, is different from a version released like 2 months later. Han shoots Greedo and Greedo dies. Very simple. Almost like that's the way a film should be. Simple, to the point. It's a character establishing moment. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. In the 1997 special edition release of the film, it alters the scenes that Greedo shoots first and misses, with Han's head digitally altered to move away from the laser blast, subtly indicating that Han can, or at sight, dodge point-blank laser blasts.
Hell yeah, he can.
Which makes him seem so much more terrifying as a character.
He's secretly got like the most force.
Well, he's just got Ultra Instinct. Ultra Instinct Han Solo just exists in that universe, like the universe established by the special edition, because it means that Han can, from point-blank range, dodge a laser shot aimed at his face.
It's so stupid.
An ability he never uses again. Like, it's so stupid because it ruins the film. Anyways, the scene was altered again in the 2004 DVD release of the film so that Han and Greedo shoot simultaneously. An even stupider change. The scene was further modified for the 2019 4K release on Disney Plus with the addition of a close-up shot of Greedo speaking without subtitles. And what does he say, Lucas?
McClunky.
So stupid. Like, it was such a simple, clean scene. I said, it's just... the scene serves no other purpose than establishing that Han's a scumbag. He didn't need to make it more complicated than that. Lucas has stated that he always intended to have Greedo shoot first, despite the fact he didn't. Because he felt that the idea of Han shooting first depicts him as a cold-blooded killer. Well, yeah. So, Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett. The best written character in fiction. What's your favourite Boba Fett quote? I've asked this before, but what's yours?
The one where he falls into the
Yeah, that's the joke I made as well. It's like, as he falls into a hole. The original script for Star Wars included a scene between Jabba the Hutt, who was designed in concept drawings similar to his appearance in Return of the Jedi, and often travelling on a sedan chair. Fucking hell. And Han Solo set in the Mos Eisley Dock 94. The scene was filmed with Harrison Ford playing Han Solo and Declan Mulholland, a large man. A very large
boy.
He's behind me. He's one chunky boy right behind me right now, wearing a furry vest as a stand-in for Jabba. Oh, so I thought he played Jabba, so it turned out he was just the stand-in. The idea to replace Mulholland in post-production with a stop-motion character due to time limitations and budget constraints. I think we talked about this, and they just put it back in a later release. It's so weird. Oh yeah, here we go. Is the bit you talked about. Han stepped on Jabba's tail, causing it to squeal, which creates a workaround with Han digitally moved vertically to account for Jabba's tail.
So he just shift his character up.
Oh, it's so bad. It's like, we want it to look more realistic. Just, so not only can Han Solo now dodge lasers,
he can defy gravity.
He can also levitate, and he doesn't believe in the Force. I don't think you need to believe in the Force when you can do that. So now we're going on to The Empire Strikes Back. Boba Fett's voice was originally recorded by Jason Wingreen. When the Attack of the Clones revealed that Boba Fett was a clone of Jango Fett, played by Tamura Morrison, they had Morrison re-record all of Boba Fett's lines.
Oh,
it's just... It's so, you just can't do anything but just go, for fuck's sake, did you really need to do that?
Did you really need to, change the voice of an actor from 20 years prior?
So now we have the expansion of Oola's death scene. In the theatrical release of the film, Oola's death is filmed from outside the Rancor pit. She falls into the pit and her scream is heard from off-screen. Which is fair enough. That's all you need to do. Again, keep the plot moving.
And as well, the monster is scarier when you can't see it.
Exactly. We're talking about George Lucas here, Lucas. Hey, I just realised that. You know he couldn't leave well enough alone. So in 1997, the special edition, extra shots were inserted depicting her in the pit, including shots where she looks up to the crowd, the pit door being raised, and a shot of her terror, the Rancor and Oola as she screams remain off screen. So, yeah. Fair enough. So it didn't ruin the shot, but again, it's so pointless. But here's my favourite bit. Femi Taylor, who played Oola, impressed critics with her ability to reprise her role over a decade later without visible differences. Because did you know that? They brought her back in.
And she just didn't look any different.
No, they brought the actress back in, put her back in full makeup and re-recorded those. So that wasn't like the Jabba the Hutt thing, which is the scene they didn't use that they used CGI to fix.
Oh no, they actually made the effort to bring her back.
They brought the actress back in to film a shot of her just going, and that's it.
I love the fact they brought her back, put all that makeup on her for a completely pointless scene that has nothing to the film.
What sums up George Lucas more than that? That he absolutely insisted, and he tracked the original actress back down. They could have done it with CGI or just composites. Like, no, I need the actress back in. Why? Because we've not got a shot of her turning around and seeing the Rancor. The guy's insane. Again, I respect it. I respect it so much. So the addition of Darth Vader's whoever is out there who has like Wikipedia editing privileges, just go edit this. It's got like 9 O's on it. So at the climax of the film, Emperor tortures Luke with Force lightning, prompting Darth Vader to throw the Emperor down a chasm. In the theatrical release and earlier home video releases, Darth Vader watches and acts in silence. It's almost like he's internally contemplating what he's doing, and you don't need audio to like know what he's thinking, because it's all done like through the physicality of the actor portraying him, one David Prowse. But like, Lucas, what do you think happened?
I mean, George Lucas likes to meddle with things.
Yeah, so they added a drawn out no, creating a parallel with his similar cry at the end of episode 3. Critics were universally negative of this change, noting that it made an emotional scene, and I quote, laughable, which it does.
It really does.
It makes an amazing fucking scene just terrible.
And as well, because how bad that no sounds. Like, the fact they added it in is bad anyway, but just like, no!
Because it doesn't make sense what the character's doing at the time. It's so much better when it's silent. Anyway, here's the one that I really like, because it's so pointless, I kind of love it. In the scene where Anakin Skywalker is unmasked, in the 2004 DVD release, they digitally removed his eyebrows to reflect how he was burned on Mustafar.
I never knew that.
Did you know that? That's one of my favourites. Because in like episode 3, Anakin catches on fire and has no eyebrows.
Yep.
So they used CGI to remove the actor's eyebrows. Because he had eyebrows when Darth Vader takes his helmet off.
I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but to be fair, looking back and seeing like a burnt face with eyebrows on it would probably look a bit stupid.
But it's just the idea that they went back in and just CGI'd his eyebrows off. Here's another one.
Oh, God.
At the end of the film, when all of like, the various races across the galaxy are celebrating, the scene was lengthened to include shots of celebration on Coruscant, Bespin, and Tatooine. The 2004 release further added a shot set on Naboo to show the Gungans were also celebrating.
Yep.
Oh,
It's so bad.
The worst part of the prequel, they put it back in. You can't stop. It can't be stopped. Oh, so like, there's so many more.
There is. That was the significant changes,
like
and
that.
there's still more.
Significant changes. Some guy's eyebrows. It's the little ones that make me laugh, though. The one of none of the Ewoks blinked. Because all the Ewoks' costumes just had like big sewn-on button eyes.
Oh, okay.
And everyone found it terrifying, so they added CGI eyelids onto all the Ewoks.
I say,
That's one of my
bring
favourite
back
ones.
the terrifying Ewoks.
So I want other directors to start doing this. I want Steven Spielberg to come out and say, Jurassic Park's not done, and just keep releasing versions with more and more
He
dinosaurs
just
in it.
does like a fully CG T-Rex instead, and it just looks worse.
Just adds more dinosaurs in every fucking scene, because that would bring to life one of my favourite jokes ever, which is in Father Ted, when all the priests are asleep because they're watching Mass, because the joke is, religion's boring. Like, you know, a joke that can only be brought to you by like, the amazing creative man that is Graham Linehan. And they have just a throwaway gag where Father Jack goes to change the channel, and they say, and we now return to a special director's cut of Jurassic Park with extra dinosaurs. And I want that version of the film. I want
just 4 T-Rexes now.
I want a director's cut of Jurassic Park with extra dinosaurs. Make it happen, Hollywood. Make it happen.